Hello, I'm Christopher Springman. You're listening to Neph Talk, a podcast series created with nephrologists in mind from Satellite Healthcare, a not-for-profit dialysis provider that leads the industry in home therapies while supporting clinical research. Why do you go to work every day? Is it to make a difference in people's lives through memorable, meaningful customer service while connecting to your own sense of contribution and purpose? I believe that our next guest feels exactly that way. She is Nurse Sherri Rodrigues, Clinical Manager at Satellite Dialysis in Central Modesto, California. Welcome to Neph Talk.
Well, thank you so very much, and my pleasure.
We're here today to talk about the book that I love, and apparently you do too, called OGO. Oh, great one. Tremendous praise for jobs well done, quality patient service, a caring, empathetic environment at the centers like yours, Central Modesto, and for home patients too, plus the overriding concern for patient safety and a safe work environment. It's easy to say, but perhaps a little more difficult to execute. What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I mean, that is definitely difficult to execute. It's a lot to take on, but I feel that at Satellite, they give us the ability and the tools that we need to really be able to accomplish that task.
And I think that starts at the top. In fact, this has been a big part of our conversation, the presence of Rick Barnett, the president and CEO of Satellite Health, at your place. I guess you were very pleasantly surprised, but you really didn't know what to expect. Tell me about that.
I've worked for the company for quite some time.
How about 26 years?
26 years, exactly, yes. So when we heard Rick was coming, of course, we were all a little nervous because we hadn't met him. We didn't know what to expect, but instead it was really a pleasant surprise. He came to the clinic, and his intention was he would try to meet with every single employee, and he did just that. And he was open to hear exactly what we thought, our ideas, our criticism. And I feel that he really took it to heart. And it was so nice to feel that he really cared about what was going on at our level and that he was really interested in making change. And I feel it makes people value their job more. When you're working for someone that you know cares about you and that your voice is going to be heard, I think it definitely creates a much happier work environment.
Oh, great one is really about the shadow of the leader, that the leader sets the precedent, the example through their integrity and consistency. And I know, Sherri, that's something you admire because we've talked about this.
When you have someone who not only talks the talk but walks the walk, you're going to respect them. And I feel that even if they may make some decisions that you may not agree with or like, you're still going to respect them and follow them because they're setting a great example. And so as a center manager, I feel that it's my job to do exactly the same thing.
But at the same time, you don't feel that you're helpless or the situation is hopeless and you just sort of shrug your shoulders and say, well, the word has come down from up above, that their door is literally open to you, but all employees without fear of retaliation. That is a big deal. And I've worked for companies that have given lip service to that, but
Yeah, but then when you actually do it, it's a whole different thing. No, I've really seen that. You know, they've made communication very open. He did town hall meetings. We have an email address that we can email problems, concerns. We can call. And I feel comfortable to go to whoever I need to go to without fear of retaliation. Makes all the difference in the world.
I'm sure your patients appreciate this. First of all, good employees are hard to find. Good employees are good to find, and you need to do everything you can to retain them. Consistency of personnel is very, very important because, frankly, the folks who visit your centers are there 3 times a week. Is that correct?
That is correct. Most of them are 3 times a week.
And 4 hours a day.
Yes.
And walking in and seeing familiar faces, people who know their name, who are happy to see them, and this goes both ways, is really a crucial part, I believe, of the appeal of Satellite Health. Am I on the right track there?
Oh, absolutely. And patients, when they walk in and they see the friendly face and they recognize you, they feel at ease. When you go to a center where every time you come in, it's different people turn over, you don't know what happened to the one that you really liked and now there's somebody else there. You never have that sense that you can really relax and be at ease. You're always going to be on guard just a little bit. And, we're very blessed here, especially, in the Central Valley at my clinic, our turnover is extremely low. I feel that because the employees feel valued and their word really does count and they're listened to, I think that helps tremendously with the retention. And when you retain employees for a long period of time, the patients know them. It just makes the whole vibe of the center more comfortable.
What has your experience been when a nephrologist, for example, who is in a position, let's be honest, to recommend a dialysis center, comes to your place for the first time? What kind of experiences have you had with that?
We try to welcome them, introduce the staff, give them a copy of their schedule so they can see who their patients are, help them with their rounding, help them with the computer network until they get comfortable. So the majority of the times, I think that the results have been good. They want to know easy things like the center hours, our availability. Do we have room for isolation patients? They want to get like the idea of the run of the center. But then they also want to look at things like our quality numbers. They want to look at our special programs. They want to find out what's the availability of social workers, dietitians, nurses, experience of the nurses and the staff, just to be sure that they're sending their patients to a place where they're going to receive quality care.
Are they concerned about issues like infection rates, for example?
Oh, absolutely. That's part of the quality numbers. I think that's really, really important is you need to look at that big picture. And with all of the quality numbers, you want to be sure that you're recommending the center where your patients are going to receive good care and be safe.
So it's more than just the vibe. There are a lot of hard numbers involved that they need to be aware of in order to make a decision.
But I think it all comes together in one big package that when staff enjoys their job, when staff feels valued, when staff is happy with where they are, they're going to work harder because they're going to have pride in their center and they're going to work harder to provide that quality care. And so I think it all comes together that way.
Because ultimately it's about an individual's not only quality of life, but let's be honest, the quantity of life too. I'm sure that is something that everyone has in mind and frankly needs to occasionally be reminded of. That's why we're here, to serve individuals to improve their lives.
I think that Satellite's focus is definitely going in the right direction. And I think that we are trying to improve their quality of life, not just by providing excellent dialysis, but also really looking at them as a person and making them feel valued and comfortable when they do come to our clinics.
In listening to you, I feel like I'm turning the pages of Oh Great One. A little story about the awesome power of recognition. It's a wonderful book and certainly parallels my experience with satellite healthcare. Sherri, thank you so much for joining us today on Neph Talk. It's wonderful to speak with you again.
Oh, thank you. It has been my pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity.